On a warm, quiet afternoon in the suburbs, Darnell Hayes pulled his delivery van to a stop at the end of Maple Hollow Drive. The neighborhood lay tucked between tall oaks and winding streets that curved like a painting, a place where the grass never seemed to grow uneven and the driveways sparkled like polished marble. He checked the address again, 684, and looked at the small brown package on the passenger seat. Last stop. The sun dipped low behind rows of manicured bushes, casting long golden shadows across the pristine lawns and high-end sedans. Darnell rubbed his temples, the ache behind his eyes throbbing from the long shift. This was supposed to be it. One last delivery, then a warm meal and maybe an hour of quiet before his evening call with his mom back home. He grabbed the package and stepped into the heat, thick and sticky like honey left too long in the sun. The air was still, no kids playing, no dogs barking. He glanced around, uneasy at how perfectly silent it all was. He crossed toward the driveway of 684, rolling his shoulders out of habit when something bitter and acrid hit his nose, burning. Not barbecue, not someone's fireplace. This was different. Chemical. Hot. Darnell paused, sniffed again, and scanned the neighboring homes. Lawns like golf courses, hedges trimmed with surgical precision. Then he saw a thin black ribbon of smoke snaking into the sky behind the house next door. He adjusted the box under his arm and moved toward the black iron gate. The smoke grew thicker, the bitter scent burning his throat. Then he heard it popping, faint crackling. Fire. Hey! A voice snapped him back. A white man in his 50s stood across the yard with a rake in one hand, wearing a tucked-in polo and loafers with no socks. You smell that? He asked, approaching, his voice too casual for the seriousness in the air. Yeah, Darnell replied, still watching the smoke. Looks like it's coming from that house. I called it in, the man said, gesturing vaguely behind him. Fire department's on the way. Best to stay back and let them handle it. His eyes flicked down to the package Darnell carried, then back to Darnell himself. His tone changed. A little harder now. A little colder. You probably shouldn't be here. This is a private community. Darnell stiffened but said nothing. Instead, he bent down, placed the package on the pavement, and stepped toward the smoke. Wait, the man said, raising his voice. Don't be stupid. Let the professionals do their job. You don't belong here. You don't even belong around here. That last part settled like lead in Darnell's chest. He ignored it and pushed the gate open. The hinges creaked as he stepped through. Smoke was billowing now, pouring from the eaves like a dying breath. No sirens yet. No fire trucks. Just the sound of fire and his heartbeat growing louder. He sprinted up the driveway and reached the front door, a heavy, decorative slab of oak. He touched the brass handle and recoiled instantly. It burned his fingers. Hello? He shouted, knocking hard. Anybody inside? No answer. Just the hiss of flames chewing through insulation. He coughed, wiped his forehead, and circled around the house. That's when he spotted a basement window half hidden beneath a row of box hedges. The glass was fogged from inside, smeared with smoke. He crouched low and peered in. Through the haze, something shifted. A shape. Human? He banged on the window. Hey, can you hear me? A moan answered, soft, almost not there. But it was real. Behind him, the man with the rake was on his phone now, pacing and pointing like Darnell was the criminal. You're going to get yourself killed, he yelled. You hear me? Stay out of there. Darnell grabbed a heavy ceramic planter from the porch, solid and ornate, and smashed it against the window once, twice, a third time until the glass shattered inward. Smoke poured out, choking and hot. Ma'am, he shouted, coughing violently. I'm here to help. No answer. He hoisted himself through the broken window frame, careful not to cut himself on the jagged edges. Inside, the smoke swallowed him whole. His lungs protested, his eyes watered, his skin felt like it was baking. He dropped low, crawling through the living room, navigating by feel. His hand brushed a couch, then a broken lamp. Somewhere in the thick smoke, he heard it again, a faint cough. A human sound. Hold on, he yelled, voice hoarse. I'm coming. He crawled through what felt like a hallway, dragging himself forward by instinct. The walls were hot to the touch. Somewhere deeper in the house, something collapsed, and the floor shuddered beneath him. He turned left, then right. Another door. He pushed it open with his shoulder and stumbled into what looked like a sitting room. There she was, Curled on the floor beside an overturned coffee table was an elderly woman, motionless except for the slow rise and fall of her chest. Her hair was silver and soaked with sweat, her nightgown scorched at the hem. "Ma'am?" he croaked, kneeling beside her. Her lips moved but no sound came. He slid an arm beneath her back and another under her knees. "I've got you. You're going to be okay." As he lifted her, the fire seemed to awaken behind him. Walls crackled, the ceiling groaned. Embers rained from above. He covered her face with his arm and turned toward the living room, staggering toward the window. He shouted, "Help! She's alive!" From outside, voices responded, panicked, urgent. "Do you see him? He's carrying someone." He reached the shattered window, collapsed to one knee, and pushed her forward. "Take her," he wheezed. Arms reached in, pulled her gently out of his grasp. The weight gone. Darnell slumped for half a second, but the fire behind him screamed, roaring like it was alive. He summoned the last of his strength, vaulted through the frame, and hit the grass hard. The air outside hit like a slap. Cold, clean, real. He lay on the lawn, coughing uncontrollably, muscles trembling, lungs raw. Around him, lights flashed. Sirens wailed. Firefighters stormed the house with hoses and axes. "Stay still," someone said, pressing him back. "A medic. You've got burns. You inhaled a lot of smoke. Just breathe." Darnell nodded, dazed. They wrapped his arm, put oxygen under his nose, checked his pulse. Across the street, neighbors watched, some whispering, some holding their kids. No one came closer. No one said thank you, not even the man with the rake. He just stood there, arms folded. Darnell wanted to ask him, "What would you have done?" But the words didn't come. Later that night, alone in his small apartment, the burn on his arm bandaged, Darnell sat in silence. He didn't call anyone. Didn't even eat. The news aired a segment. A fire broke out in the Crestmont Estates neighborhood. An elderly resident was rescued before firefighters arrived. She is now in stable condition. No footage of him. No name. No mention of the man who saved her. The next morning, his phone rang. Darnell. His mother's voice, worried. "Yeah, Ma. You okay?" "I'm all right." They talked about her medication, about church gossip, about a neighbor's birthday. He didn't mention the fire. That afternoon, as dusk settled, a black sedan pulled up to his curb. Darnell watched it warily. When he opened the door, a man in a dark suit stood tall, flanked by a slender elderly woman leaning on a cane. "Mr. Hayes," the man asked. "I'm Desmond Whitaker. This is my mother, Gloria." The old woman gave a small smile. "You saved my life," she said. "I couldn't just send flowers. I needed to see your face." They stepped inside his apartment, and Darnell fumbled with the clutter, suddenly embarrassed. Desmond continued, "I run a regional logistics firm. Yesterday I asked myself, who do I want leading under pressure? My mother answered that question this morning." Gloria placed her hand gently on Darnell's. "I said, find the man who walked into fire without being asked." Desmond smiled. "We'd like to offer you a position. Trainee program. Salary. Benefits. And we'd like to pay your mother's medical bills. If you'll accept." Darnell's voice caught in his throat. I don't know what to say." "You already did," Gloria said, "when you didn't wait." A week later, Darnell stood in front of the Whitaker Logistics building, nerves bouncing in his chest. He wore the only collared shirt he owned, pressed and tucked. Desmond met him in the lobby with a handshake. "Glad you're here. We've got good people who'll teach you the rest. Just bring that heart." By noon, Darnell was organizing routes and learning the back-end systems he'd once only seen from the outside. He wasn't just a delivery guy anymore. He was part of something. During lunch, his phone buzzed. "Mom, hospital scheduled surgery for Thursday. Nervous but ready. Love you." He smiled and typed back, all covered. "Focus on healing." As the day wound down, Gloria walked slowly through the hall, cane tapping. She paused beside him, eyes warm. "You settling in?" "Yeah," he said. "I think I'm finally okay." "You didn't go through fire just to go back to the same life. Make this one count." That night, walking home under the streetlights, Darnell felt lighter. The scar on his arm itched, but he didn't mind. It reminded him of the moment his life changed, not with applause, but with quiet courage. And for once he looked toward tomorrow and saw hope.